So you might just like start this practice by finding a comfortable seated position. Don't have to be on the ground like me. You can be in a chair if you like. And today's practice, we're going to be looking at acupressure points for anxiety, this mystical thing that we have when our mind is racing ahead and we're not living here now, presently. And it sounds so simple, but one of those things where sometimes you can't even have any sense of what you're anxious about. You just have this general sense of dread that sits with you. And like all these practices that we do with myofascial release and ball therapy, we're looking for the kind of emotion that's trapped in our body. We think it's in our mind, but it's trapped in our body. Where might it be? So today you might like to just start with a deep breath, sense of emptying out. Just allow the next breath to come. Not trying to control or change our breath, we're just bringing our attention to it. So some things you might like to notice is whether you're breathing through nose or mouth. You just bring your attention right to the tip of the nostrils. Just let the next breath come. Allow it to go. Whatever busyness in your mind, just ask yourself, can it be enough just to sit? Can that be enough just for now? Mind is always trying to solve a problem. That's just what it does. So just notice that. All right, you might like to now bring your attention to the rest of the body, maybe shoulders or hips, knees, sit bones, whatever you like. Just scan around, see if you can isolate where there might be any tightness or tension. Every day is different. So let go of the story of your body and just see what you can feel today. You might like to rock on the tailbone a little. You might like to spread your shoulders apart, draw them in, just any small little micro movements. You might feel the back of your neck long. Take your time to explore. You might like to end with a little smile, just softening everything in the face. As you probably noticed, today's practice will not be rushing. So if you're tempted to fast forward ahead, of course, that is anxiety speaking. So let's see if we can just start. We might just start by bringing our hand to our heart center. And you might like to start to explore with your fingertips in between the top ribs. It's wherever you like. Our first acupressure point is actually not going to be here. It's going to be the top of our shoulder. It's a triple warmer point called the heavenly rejuvenation. And the way we find it is by reaching one hand over the top, over our trapezius muscle onto the top of the shoulder blade. And you want to be about halfway down. So just feel the whole length of your shoulder blade and kind of right on the top point of it. Just rest your fingers there. Bring your attention to your fingers. Use the flat of your fingers, not the tip. Don't have to push in too hard. We're just aiming to bring our awareness there. Let your shoulders be heavy. Feel the back of your neck. So you might tuck your chin a little. And just following the breath. Triple warmer is the part of our system that regulates our body temperature. So our evenness from head to heart to belly. Maybe one is dominant. We can feel uneven in our temperament. Too controlled by head, most common. Sometimes belly is out of balance. Sometimes heart is aching. So just notice across head, heart, belly, we're inviting in this feeling of connection and evenness. All right, let's go to the other side, just slowly letting the fingers go. You might notice how you feel before you switch. And then we'll take our hand across. Again, just finding the very top point of the shoulder at the back. Triple warmer 15, heavenly rejuvenation. If your mind is a long way away, just invite it back into the body. What can I notice? The mere act of placing our fingers here changes the way our body moves energy through the systems, through the fascia, through the connective tissue. Might take one or two more breaths. And then when you're ready, slowly bringing the hands away. You might like to just notice how you feel in shoulders and neck. And we will go to the neck next. We're going to take the heel of one of our palms and bring it right flush up against the side of the neck, right on your scalene muscles. And then we're going to hook our fingers so that they're right into the big long muscle down the back of our neck. And you should be able to get all your fingers along that muscle. Just, again, not pressing in too hard, just bringing your attention there. You might try one finger and then the next. Just noticing tightness and tension in all those 7 cervical vertebrae that we have. You might tuck in your chin a little more, find some space between shoulders and ears. Following the breath. So as we keep just inviting our attention back into the body, back into the sensation, we undermine that mind ability to always be jumping ahead and planning and guessing and fearing the future. I take one more breath. And just letting the fingers come away. Take your time. You might like to just notice what has shifted. And then when you're ready, same on the other side, we're going to cup in the heel of our palms right under that occipital bone at the base of the skull. And then the fingers land in that hook shape right on the muscle at the back. Find as much extension as you can. Shoulders stay heavy. I always like to remind myself that every bit of food I eat travels down through the neck. Every breath, the oxygen travels there. Every chemical or electrical message of my body travels down through the neck. Such a tiny part of the body, but so much going on. So just honor that busyness. We're creating some space. We're making room for what is next. When you're ready, slowly reduce the pressure. Keep your fingers connected until the last moment when they easily come away. And again, just noticing. You might like to tilt your head side to side or tuck your chin. Something has shifted. Just notice what it might be. All right, we're going to go into some pericardium points on our arms. Pericardium is our heart protector. And you might like to start just right in the middle of the elbow. So if you flex your elbow, you'll feel those two tendons come in the middle of that. This is crooked marsh point on our pericardium meridian. And just keeping the thumb there. And this one can relate to anxiety in the stomach, believe it or not. So you might like to just take a deep abdominal breath. Maybe just honor the last meal that you ate, the nourishment, the nutrients that you gained from it. Alrighty, slowly reducing the pressure. We're going to take the thumb all the way down to the middle of the wrist. So this is now our inner gate, our nagum point. So just right on the wrist crease, or just above it. Point for calm, settling, grounding. And then we're going to go across to where our little finger hits the wrist crease, just behind that bone there. This is our spirit gate on our heart meridian. You might like to roll the wrist. Just keep that connection. You can hold these points as long as you like. We're just kind of learning where they are today. And then let's switch to the other side, slowly bringing that thumb away. We'll do those same 3 points, pericardium 3 first, crooked marsh right in the middle of the elbow. Deep abdominal breaths. And then we'll go down to our wrist, our nagum point, our inner gate. And then that heart meridian point over in line with the little finger. Roll your wrist if you like. Can we want what we have? Instead of thinking about what's missing, what we need, can we just allow our life to be as it is in this moment? Notice how monkey mind is always wanting more, reaching for more, thinking we're not enough, not good enough, or we don't have enough. Okay, let's see if we can bring our two inner wrists together. So we're back to our inner gate. One is pulling in, one is pushing out. Let your shoulders be heavy. Just notice if you have invited any tension in your neck. And we're going to just explore, just gently rolling one wrist over the other. Take your time. At the back of our wrist is a point on our triple warmer meridian. So just notice how the two connect, the inner wrist and the outer wrist. You might like to change direction. Sometimes I feel like when I do this, that someone is putting a blanket over my whole body. If you have that feeling too, then something is shifting, something is moving. Maybe a feeling of calm or ease. Maybe not. Just see how you go. All right, let's bring one hand to our third eye point. I like to use two fingers, the flat of the fingers, and just tuck them in between the eyebrows. You might like to create a shelf for your elbow with your opposite hand, back of the neck long. And you can use a little bit of pressure here. Our pituitary gland deep in the head, in the brain, regulates our nervous system. So as we bring our attention here, should feel like we're moving away from that busyness, always doing. Our body moves into that rest and digest mode, that repair mode. Your mind drifts away, just invite it back underneath the fingers. Nowhere else I need to be right now. When you're ready, just keep your fingers where they are, but slowly reduce the pressure. Take all the time you can until your fingers just slowly come away from the skin. We'll bring hands together. We're going to rest the knuckles of our thumbs right on the middle of the sternum. So our last point, that third eye point, was on our governing vessel that runs up and over and down the back of our body. Now this one is on our conception vessel that runs up through the front of the body. So you might like to just feel one palm pressing into the other, or both palms pressing into each other. Bring your attention right to your heart center. Don't need anything to be any different. Or you might just say to your anxious mind, you might say, I don't mind what happens today. See how that feels. I don't mind what happens today. I don't need anything to be any different. Might take one more breath. Deep sigh. And then slowly bringing the hands down. Okay, before we finish today, we are just going to use a ball. So hopefully you have one handy. We're going to come down onto the ground. We're just going to explore those first 2 points that we did. I'm using a block as well. You might use a book, just if that works best for your body. It's up to you. So that first one we did was the top of the shoulder, the triple warmer meridian. Now you might have to hold the ball there at the start. So we're looking right at the top of the shoulder at the back, and then maybe lifting the arm and just exploring a little bit of movement. Notice how that feels. We're inviting our body's attention to move through this point. Maybe something is blocked. You might find a spot that's particularly tight or tense and just see if you can let the arm just drape over the ball. Maybe a big, deep breath. Let go of any kind of trigger point tension or tightness. And when you're ready, we'll take that ball out. Notice how the arm feels. And then let's go to the other side. So you might start by holding it in. A little bit tricky to get your shoulder blade over the ball. You can explore. Notice how different this feels being horizontal and using the ball than how it felt when we were sitting and using our fingers. Once you've done a little bit of movement, just find the spot, let the arm drape over it. Hopefully the ball will stay there. Deep sigh. And when you're ready, slowly bringing the ball out. You might like to just roll your nose from one shoulder all the way to the other, just letting your neck and head be heavy. Don't lift the head up. And we'll do that last point, the one that's at the back of the neck, our heavenly pillar. It's a bladder meridian point. So you'll remember we hooked our fingers into the opposite muscle at the back of the neck. So now use the ball. You might even use your block as well if you want to be up a little higher. Just notice what works for your body. And just have the ball on that muscle and just have the head on that muscle. And just big sigh. This might be intense, might be easy. Everyone is different. You might like to do a real gentle nod of your head. Don't stay here too long. When you're ready, we'll take that ball out. You might like to roll the nose side to side again. And then we'll try the other side. So coming onto the back of the neck, just letting the head just sink into the ball. You might need to keep it held there. Deep sigh. And when you're ready, ball can come out. And we might just, again, roll the chin over to each shoulder. No effort. And then last of all, just tucking the chin and then rolling the head back. Just a small movement. When you're ready, roll onto your side. Take your time. You might take your hand under the shoulder and then just slowly press yourself up. And hopefully feeling a little less anxious, maybe. Let's bring hands together. As we always do, just acknowledging our choice to practice on this day. Every day is unique. And then we'll bow to each other.